as we get on to our second topic for today, the Presidential Election Petition Court in Abuja yesterday admitted documenting evidence accusing President Bola Tinubu of drug offenses in the United States. Now, the court accepted the documents as exhibits in the case filed by the presidential candidate of the Labour Party, Mr. Peter Obi, and this was to challenge President Tinubu's victory in the 25 February election, alleging widespread irregularities during the presidential election and Tinubu's ineligibility to contest the election. Obi is also asking the courts to nullify his victory. Now, Tinubu, we know, was sworn in as Nigeria's president on Monday, although the case is challenging his election will not be decided until sometime in September. Now, when the suit came up on Tuesday, Jibrin Okutekpa, a senior advocate of Nigeria, tendered some court documents purporting to be the U.S. court's decision awarding the sum of $460,000 fine against Tinubu for illicit drugs trafficking imposed by the United States District Court. Now, the suit was between the United States of America and Tinubu. Now, Mr. Okutukwe also tendered documents to aid Mr. Obi's case of double nomination being pushed against the Vice President, Kashim Shettima. We also will be, we've been speaking with Barrister Evan Tufeli, and he will stay on for this one. And we'll also be joined virtually by another barrister, Barrister Eze Eluchie. We would like to welcome you on board, Barrister Eze. Good morning.
Thank you very much.
Thanks for joining us. Now the court has accepted these the papers by the lawyer to Mr. Obi. What do you make of this? Do you see this as a way forward indeed for the case of Mr. Obi? This goes to you, Eluche. Yes, please.
Thank you very much. The reality is that the Nigerian Constitution, Section 137, makes very clear provisions regarding what are the qualities of the president or somebody who is aspiring to the office of the president of the Federal Republic. And one of them is under Section 137D. A standalone provision provides that when a person has been under any fine by any court for an offense involving dishonesty or fraud, that person is not qualified. Now, why I say a standalone provision is if you qualify for all, by virtue of all other provisions of the Constitution, like a Nigerian, you are over the age expected, you are not a bankrupt, you're not insane, you qualify in every way, but you fail in any of the provisos, any of the conditions spelled out under Section 137D, you are not qualified to be a candidate. And if you happen to have been made a candidate unconstitutionally, that election can be initiated. So I believe that is what the Labour Party is trying to achieve by this. And if the constitutional provision there, 137D, does not restrict the proof of a fine or the levying of a fine to just Nigerian court. It says any court or tribunal. Once it's a legitimate court or tribunal, it avails anybody who wants to challenge the candidacy of somebody who is purported to be a presidential candidate. I understand that there has been touted that somebody in the U.S. Embassy wrote a letter exculpating the alleged Mr. President. It goes to know it's useless. That letter, which emanates from the U.S. consular or whoever, is useless in this text, because when a court has adjudicated over a matter and levied a fine, and the fine has been paid, it's not in the purview of any individual, particularly a non-judicial, somebody who's not in the legal system. It's not the Supreme Court, it's not an appellate court, which is sitting over the court that levied the fine, to just say he has issued a waiver. Such waivers are nonsensical. The issues are, was the fine levied by the court? If the answer is yes, then the next question should be, will the Nigerian courts deem a charge of a levy of fine for drug trafficking as something that can be described as dishonorable or dishonesty? That is the question that which the victim should be worried about. Will the Nigerian court, before whom they have brought this document, be willing to accept this fine levied on Mr. Tinubu by the United States court as one bordering on dishonesty or fraud? Now, whether drug is a issue of dishonesty or fraud, we know that some time ago in Nigeria there was a law that once you are convicted of a crime involving drug trafficking anywhere in the world, you can be penalized again in Nigeria for bringing the name of the country to disrepute and for being dishonest. So already in the Nigerian jurisprudence, issues of drug trafficking, drug dealing in drugs, has been over time viewed as something bordering on dishonesty and fraud. So, I mean, if they can wriggle out of this, good for them. But the reality is, if indeed the court has accepted this document and it is genuine, and there is nothing that can counter it, that it was not a fine levied by a court anywhere in the world, I think the Tinubu team has a very uphill task ahead of it.
All right, so yesterday as well, of course, we still have more issues being talked about today at the Election Petition Tribunal. But yesterday, two lawyers from the team of the Labour Party were absent at the court, and they asked for an adjournment because two of these lawyers were not on ground. One would think that the Labour Party wants this issue to be expedited as soon as possible. The idea is that by September, we should have come to a conclusion of most of the issues being deliberated at the Election Petition Tribunal. Do we think that this has created a leeway for INEC and for the APC to also ask for adjournment as well?
Well, whether they ask for adjournment or whatsoever, the court has given the Labour Party, I think, 3 weeks to present its case. So if it's like, let it be adjourning before 3 weeks. After 3 weeks, they have to close their case. So I believe that it's now an issue of case management, time management. And I believe the lawyers of the Labour Party know what they are doing. The court has given you specific time frame to present your case. If you like, say all your lawyers are sick, all your witnesses are sick, that's your business. I had hoped for more seriousness on their part. There cannot be such excuses. You have so many, when they go to court, you see 1,001 lawyers coming along with them. If one lawyer, and nobody is indispensable, if a lawyer is unwell, which we all human beings can fall sick, it's expected that one or two others will deputize him. Even the head of the team, if he drops dead, would they say they will close their case? At any time, for a chamber, you must have somebody who is shadowing the principal, or someone who is shadowing the person that will be presented, so that in the untoward event, for instance, that he drops dead, or he disappears, or something happens, there must be somebody to deputize. If that excuse was, I think, was shambolic, expected.
Barrister Evans, this is for you. Does this body language feel like the Labour Party is not ready, or they're not serious as they claim they are? If you say that you're asking for the notification of President Bola Ahmed Tinubu based on irregularities and the 460,000 drug fine on, in the United States, these are strong indictments against the person of the APC's principal. Do we think that with this, right, like Barrister Ezo Illicit said, that two lawyers fell ill doesn't mean that you shouldn't continue? You have a lot of lawyers who are representing each of the political parties. So does it feel like the Labour Party, they're actually not ready as they say they are?
No, I think they are ready. And what has happened is that they have structured this case with many lawyers, different expertise. You understand? So the different lawyers have mastered their areas on what they intend to do. So it's a teamwork, okay? So I don't think it might be a setback for them, given the time they have, but they will get over it, okay? The document that was also admitted in evidence, I saw some people jubilating. The fact that the court admits a document in evidence does not mean the court has ruled on it or has given judgment in favor of the other party or this other party. Sometimes a court may even admit a document in evidence, but the weight it may place in that evidence might not be as strong as well, because it depends on the nature of the evidence. there are rules of evidence. Okay, so I don't think that the Labour Party is not serious. I don't think so. They are serious with this case. In fact, they know that they have a lot of people looking up to this case, and they are serious about it. Whatever it is as a setback, they can always overcome when they get back on their feet on the case in question. They have made positive stride with what they have done so far on ground from record. So they should go ahead and continue the issues. There are a lot of issues still left, not just the issue of the fraud. There's the issue of the 25%. There's a lot of issues, and they need to prove all this. And they need to call their witnesses, okay, to do all that is required by law before they close their case, so that the other party will, open theirs.
All right. Now we do know that the PDP brought a case against the now VP Kashim Shettima, and it was thrown out.
Yes.
Labour Party is also presenting the same case, but they're saying they have a different angle to it.
Yes, they say they have a different angle to it, that what their argument is different from what the court has already ruled on. It's part of the brief, the whole brief, to nullify the entire election, because the two parties, they're exercising authority on that one ticket of that political party. So that what you do in law, you don't just tackle issues from one side, because the court is going to rule on all the issues you have raised. Some will succeed, some will fail. You understand? So you go from multiple dimensions: 25%, drug, dishonesty, the deputy governor nomination, that you spread it through. So you don't know the one that will succeed, and you don't know the one that will fail.
So you're basically casting their bread on waters.
Of
their
course,
bread on waters.
you have, that is what it is, in a manner of speaking. That is what it is. Then each of
trial and error.
Yeah, each of it. It's not trial and error. There are legal issues. There are infractions, presumed infractions. Now it's now left for you to use evidence. So just like what has happened now, they presented a document to strengthen the argument that there was a case of fraud on, and Section 137 of the Constitution is very explicit on that issue. So while they are citing that law, they are presenting a document in evidence to support that, and they're making further arguments to that effect. That is how they will take it through on all the issues.
All right, Barrister Eze, let me come to you now. Now, with regards to perception, we've seen that the U.S. itself has congratulated the president. They have said they are willing to work with him, and we're bringing a case of an infraction made years ago against the U.S. and fines paid in that infraction. Perception-wise, do you think the outstretched arm of the U.S. would have a way of watering down the arguments of the Labour Party as to the person of Tinubu being involved in drug issues with the U.S.?
Well, I don't think so. Nature abhors a vacuum, and the United States and other countries have citizens in Nigeria, and they will want to always ensure that their citizens are protected. And the only way to protect their citizens is if they recognize the government that is holding sway over Nigeria.
Okay.
US did by acknowledging that there is a president in office. It's just pure what is expected of any country. There is a Nigeria, and you have to relate that until when the courts resolve the issue. So it in no way goes to affect the issues before the tribunal, and that's why I just had to that the claims by the APC candidate. There was a letter from the U.S. consulate regarding the legal issues, a non-starter. The government has done what the U.S. government has done by recognizing that there's somebody who is in government in Nigeria, such that if there's anything that happens to any U.S. citizen, or they have any interest, economical, commercial, or whatsoever, they know who to relate with. But it does not mean that if the court rules otherwise or that the US will try to interfere in the court processes. And likewise, that's what they do in every other country. You cannot say, okay, you don't like the way the elections took place, so you will not recognize that there's a government and you have citizens here and you have commercial economic interest. It's not expected. So what they are doing is what they should do. And both sides, both the litigants, the PDP and APC, cannot question that because it's a continuum. Governance is a continuum. There is no vacuum. So that's what I think about this issue. But let me just highlight a bit on the difference between the question you asked my colleague in the studio earlier. The PDP's case, the angle from which they took up the issue of the vice president's double nomination was defective, was faulty, in the sense that the very law which they used to attack that double candidacy issue was only available to party members of APC and those contested in the primaries with Mr. Tinubu. The PDP was faulty in going that route, but in this instance where somebody has been declared winner, no court anywhere in the world can say the PDP at this instance now and the Labour Party do not have locus to challenge the validity of the candidate. Because the issue of whether the vice president had the double nomination goes to the candidacy of the APC presidential team. For the earlier case, the issue of local standing was used to disqualify PDP because they are not APC members and they did not contest with Mr. Tinubu for the primary. But now, before the tribunal, different ballgame. Both the PDP and the Labour Party have sufficient locus to say the person who was not qualified because his vice presidential candidate had double nomination. It is now left to the court to look at the rudiments, the real facts of the matter. Was Mr. Shetima, did he really have double candidature? Was he a senatorial aspirant and as well as a vice presidential candidate, even if it's for 1 hour? Even if it was 1 hour before the change was effected. So I want to just chip in on that answer. Thank you very much.
All right, then. Thank you very much, Barrister Eze Iluche. Thank you for coming on the program. And we must say a very big thank you to you, Barrister Evans Ufeli, for staying on with us. Thank you very much. Well, we'll take a break now. When we come back, we'll go into entertainment. And Kayla will be joining us for that one. Stay with us.